Does that picture make you feel sad? Now what about that picture? Does it make you feel happier? When I first set a foot on the African continent in 2000, that picture was making me feel happier. But after working for several non-governmental organizations in more than 10 countries across Asia and Africa, my feelings have changed. Because those children who are overweight or obese are at high risk of developing complications later, such as hypertension, diabetes, or cardiovascular disease. And they will develop them in countries that are not resourced enough to take care of them. The problem of undernutrition is still immense. It's still the cause of half of children under 5's deaths globally. But in addition to it, many low-income countries are now facing also the problem of obesity. It's still in high-income countries that the prevalence of childhood obesity is higher. But it's in low and middle-income countries that the number of children affected is highest. And it increases fast. For example, in Africa, the prevalence of childhood obesity went from 4% in the 90s to 7% in 2011 and is now expecting to reach 11% in 2025. And when a country faces both the problem of over and undernutrition, we call it the double burden of malnutrition. This is not a new problem. The concept emerged in 1992 at the first International Conference of Nutrition. Yet, it is still a neglected problem. The landscape in developing countries is changing. There are many causes to this rise of obesity, not all of them being fully understood. Urbanization, decrease in physical activity, genetics, epigenetics. There is also a clear change in diets as more processed food and drinks are now entering in their markets. Some companies are now using floating markets on rivers or armies of door-to-door vendors to give more choices to isolated people. We also discover more and more links between undernutrition in women or in infancy and childhood obesity. So everybody agrees that to be able to tackle this rise in obesity, we need many actors and many sectors to work together. So I believe that non-governmental organizations, especially the one working in nutrition, have a role to play in this. So I spent my whole summer trying to understand how international organizations are responding to that double burden of malnutrition. What helps them? What challenges them? And when I interviewed strategy makers of those organizations, I also asked them about one of the principles of our work, a principle of protection. Avoid exposing people to further harm as a result of your actions. I asked them if they thought that in their current nutrition programs, they could think of something that could increase childhood obesity. And 3 things came up repeatedly during the interviews. The first thing is that almost all over the world, we treat and often prevent undernutrition with a product made of peanut paste, dried milk, oil, sugar, and a mix of vitamins and minerals. Those products are a great invention. I have used them. I have seen them saving lives. But I have also seen them used sometimes with little control, distributed with little information. As a result, some populations call them biscuits or even consider them as an aphrodisiac. those products are a huge help to fight undernutrition. It's a quick solution, far more rapid than relying on local food. But we need to use them with caution, because the message we might send with them is that a product high in sugar and calories is a healthy product. The second thing that came up is that in current nutrition program, when a child is born with a low birth weight, we make them gain weight rapidly. Yet, researchers have shown that such rapid catch-up growth could lead later to adiposity, insulin resistance, or cardiovascular disease. We don't really know what are the long-term consequences of our nutrition programs, because once the children have reached a target weight, we stop following them up. We evaluate the quality of our nutrition programs with the minimum amount of weight that those children gain, but never the maximum. So I believe that if we provide those children with better quality care, we would not only save their lives, which I agree should still be the priority, but also decrease the risk for them to develop non-communicable disease later in life. And the third thing that came up a lot during the interviews is about this increase in the number of public-private or NGOs private partnerships. Some of them have produced remarkable results. They help us collecting data, disseminating information, linking small farmers with markets. But some of them are a bit more questionable. For example, do we really need to get African women to sell sugar-sweetened beverages to empower them? But you know what worried me the most? It's that when I interviewed those strategy makers, a quarter of them admitted that they have never thought of those potential risks. And some of them told me that they have thought about it, but that they never discussed it within their organizations. And I found this really concerning. So don't get me wrong. I'm speaking here of potential risks. Those risks will vary from context to context. They will not be the same in Kenya or in South Sudan. Do I still believe that we should prioritize life-saving interventions? Yes, absolutely. Do I think this is enough? No. The landscape in developing countries is changing, and our nutrition programs need to change accordingly. Because even if we don't have yet funding to actively prevent obesity, we can still avoid being part of the problem. Thank you.